As a tribute to Iron Man of India, Sardar Patel, government issues notification saying that the new union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh to come into existence on his birth anniversary on the 31st of October. Peace and calm prevail in Jammu and Kashmir. Prohibitory orders under Section 144 of CRPC withdrawn from Jammu district. Schools reopen in Doda and Kathua, among other places. India terms Pakistan's decision to downgrade diplomatic ties with India as unilateral and regrettable, says Pakistan seems nervous that development of J&K will nullify its nefarious acts. Russia supports India on Jammu and Kashmir reorganization, says change in the status of the state of J&K and its division into two union territories carried out within the framework of the Constitution of India bats for normalization of relations between India and Pakistan. Rescue and relief operations in full swing as flood situation remains grim in states of Kerala, Maharashtra and Karnataka. Union Home Ministry maintaining a close watch on the situation. 83 teams of NDRF and 173 teams of Air Force, Navy and Coast Guard deployed. Over 82,000 persons moved to safety. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to visit Karnataka to take stock of the flood situation. In Kerala, which is most affected by the floods, rain subside in most districts while 28 deaths confirmed. 22.5 crores released by state government for immediate assistance. Congress Working Committee to meet amidst leadership crisis. CWC may announce a new Congress chief. Hello and welcome to this edition of the news. I'm Rukma. In our top story, President Ramnath Kovind on Friday gave his assent to the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Bill 2019. The Union Home Ministry has said that the two union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, will come into existence on the 31st of October, the birth anniversary of the Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. According to the legislation, the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir will have a legislature like Puducherry and Ladakh will be a Union Territory like Chandigarh without a legislature. In both the Union Territories, key subjects such as law and order will be with the centre. The Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir will have a Lieutenant Governor and the maximum strength of its assembly will be of 107, which will be enhanced to 114 after a delimitation exercise. 24 seats of the assembly will continue to remain vacant as they fall under Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The Union Territory of Ladakh will have Kargil and Leh districts. The Act said Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory will have reservation in the assembly seats. The Lieutenant Governor of the successor UT of J&K may nominate 2 members to the Legislative Assembly to give representation to women if, in the Lieutenant Governor's opinion, women are not adequately represented in the Legislative Assembly. Meanwhile, the situation is calm across Jammu and Kashmir. After being confined to their homes for days, people in Kashmir offered Friday prayers in their local mosques as restrictions were eased for the purpose. The valley was largely peaceful. The restrictions were eased and people who have been virtually indoors because of heavy security deployment were allowed to go to mosques in their localities by security personnel. With no untoward incident reported, the situation is said to be fine in Srinagar city as well as in South Kashmir. The situation across Jammu region has also returned to normalcy as the restrictions have been eased in Jammu, Kathua and Samba districts with the opening of educational institutions, shops, schools and academic institutions, both private and government, and shops are open in Samba, Kathua and Udhampur districts. The administration in various districts is making security arrangements in connection with Eid to ensure the return of normalcy and to avoid any untoward incident. Jammu and Kashmir Governor Satyapal Malik on Friday visited various hospitals and areas to get a first-hand appraisal of the situation. The governor visited LD Women's Hospital and GB Pant Children's Hospital in Srinagar and interacted with doctors, patients and parents of children. He took feedback about the medical treatment being provided to patients. Talking to media, the governor expressed satisfaction with the facilities being provided in the hospitals, while adding that sufficient stock of medicines were available with hospitals and all possible healthcare services were being provided to patients.
कुल मिला के ज़्यादातर लोग जो वहाँ थे सब सेटिस्फाइड थे, दवाई से, इलाज से, डॉक्टरों की केयर से, डॉक्टरों की पूरी मौजूदगी थी और आप लोगों ने इंश्योर किया है डीसी साहब ने कि डॉक्टरों के लिए व्हीकल वगैरह अवेलेबल रहें, वो जाते रहें, एम्बुलेंसेज अवेलेबल हैं, तो अस्पतालों का मैं इंतज़ाम देख के मैं काफ़ी सेटिस्फाइड था। मेडिसिन की दुकानें मैं पूरे शहर में राउंड लिया, काफ़ी जगहों पे, ज़्यादातर जगहों पे खुली हुई है। राउंड द क्लॉक सर्विसेज हैं, एडिशनल बसेस लगाई हैं आपने वहाँ जो उनके स्टाफ को लाती हैं और पेशेंट वेलफेयर के लिए कैश सरकार की तरफ से दिया जा रहा है। एम्बुलेंसेज हैं, एम्बुलेंसेज के फ्यूल का इंतजाम है।
The governor also said that adequate arrangements have been made in view of Eid, while adding that transport facilities are being provided to those travelling outside the city.
लेबरर्स जो यूपी और बिहार से आए थे, सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात है ये, उसमें 40,000 लोगों को फैसिलिटेट किया है ट्रांसपोर्ट, बसेस, ट्रेन्स, ये सब पे इंतजाम करके। ये लोग जनरली ईद पे जाते हैं फिर वापस आ जाते हैं। वो सारा काम प्रशासन ने किया है, जिसपे किराया नहीं था उसको किराया दिया। तो कुल मिला के शहर में ईद के पूरे जो प्रशासन की तरफ से किए जाने काम हैं वो पूरे इंतजामात हैं। और मुझे लगता है जो मैं घूमा भी हूँ पूरे शहर में, लोगों के जहन में कोई किसी तरह की वायलेंस की, फसाद की या किसी तरह के कोई या मैं अस्पताल में भी लोग खड़े थे उनसे भी मिला, बातचीत की, कहीं कोई उस तरह की बात नहीं है।
The Jammu and Kashmir governor further said that Prime Minister Modi's speech has had a calming effect. The situation, he said, is peaceful across the state, and as far as Eid festivities go, the governor said the festival will be celebrated in a proper manner.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री की जो स्पीच थी उससे बहुत एक तरह से कूलिंग इफेक्ट हुआ है और हम लोग भी, सारा प्रशासन लगा हुआ है, हमारे चारों एडवाइजर लगे हैं, डोभाल साहब हैं, सब लोगों से हम आउटरीच कर रहे हैं और यही नहीं कर रहे हैं, सब ज़िलों में कर रहे हैं। हमारे जो सरपंच चुने गए हैं वो लोगों में आ रहे हैं और मुझे उम्मीद है कि बहुत जल्दी नॉर्मल सी रेस्टोर होगी। जहाँ तक ईद का ताल्लुक है, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने खुद कहा है, तो ईद को हम बहुत बढ़िया तरीके, ईद से पहले थोड़ा छूट देंगे, ईद के दिन छूट देंगे, ईद को बहुत अच्छे तरीके से मनाएंगे। और मैं
India continues to hit out at Pakistan over its bid to present an alarmist picture of bilateral ties through a range of retaliatory measures after India announced partial abrogation of Article 370 and bifurcation of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh into 2 union territories. Addressing a press conference, the MEA spokesperson urged Pakistan to face the reality on Kashmir and stop misleading the world. He pointed out that there is a feeling that Pakistan is nervous, as it fears it will not be able to mislead the people if there is development in J&K.
After having expressed regret over retaliatory steps taken by Pakistan against India's decision of abrogating Article 370 of the Constitution, the Ministry of External Affairs reaffirmed on Friday that its move to scrap Article 370 is an internal matter. Hitting out at Pakistan, India said that Pakistan is nervous over India's steps in Jammu and Kashmir, as it is worried it won't be able to mislead people if there is development in the region.
See, our strategy is not something which we will spell it here. Our views are very clear, and as I mentioned that we have articulated those views to all the international organizations as well, that whatever steps we have taken in relation to Article 370 is our matter, is an internal matter. Matters related to the Constitution of India is under our sovereign jurisdiction, and this is something which I'm sure has been properly explained to these organizations. But beyond that, as and when Pakistan decides to internationalize it, we will see what steps are to be taken.
The Ministry of External Affairs reiterated that Pakistan was trying to mislead the world by presenting an alarming picture of bilateral ties between India and Pakistan. MEA spokesperson Ravish Kumar underlined that India's decision on Kashmir are aimed at ushering in good governance, better healthcare facilities and livelihood prospects for all people in the region.
There have been certain contacts being made at the level of External Affairs Minister as well. It may not be appropriate to kind of get into specifics as to which all calls were made by whom, but I think it is important to understand that we did reach out to all the countries and all the multilateral organizations in this regard.
The MEA once again called upon Pakistan to reconsider its decision to downgrade diplomatic ties with India and asserted that the suspension of the Samjhauta Express train by Pakistan was a unilateral decision and unfortunate one.
Samjhauta Express, which has been stopped, again it is important to understand that this is a unilateral decision. We never asked for the stoppage, and again we regret the decision by Pakistan government to stop this link between the two countries. It is unfortunate.
The MEA further informed that the Indian High Commissioner to Islamabad, Ajay Bisaria, is yet to return to Delhi. It also said that India has reached out to all countries explaining its position since the decision was announced.
Indian High Commissioner's return, I can only confirm to you that he is not yet in Delhi. Timing of return is yet to be decided. As you are aware that we have requested for a review of the decision. So I think there are some speculations in the media that he is already back. So I thought it is important for me to mention that he is not in Delhi, and his timing of when he is going to return is going to be determined.
MEA spokesperson also underlined that it's time that Pakistan faced the reality and stopped interfering in other nations' internal matters. With Abhishek Jai, DD News.
Meanwhile, Russia has also supported India on Jammu and Kashmir reorganization. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia has said change in the status of the state of J&K and its division into two union territories has been carried out within the framework of the Constitution of India. In response to questions from the media, the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs said Russia is a consistent supporter of the normalization of relations between India and Pakistan. Moving on, senior BJP leader and former Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, who was admitted to the intensive care unit of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi on Friday after he complained of breathlessness and restlessness, is hemodynamically stable. The former union minister is currently undergoing treatment in the ICU under the supervision of a multidisciplinary team of doctors. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited AIIMS on Friday evening to inquire about the health condition of Arun Jaitley. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan, MOS Health Ashwini Chaubey and MOS Finance Anurag Thakur also visited Arun Jaitley at AIIMS. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu also visited AIIMS this morning and inquired about the health of Arun Jaitley with the team of doctors attending on the former Union Finance Minister. The doctors informed the Vice President that Jaitley is responding to the treatment and his condition is stable. The Vice President also met Arun Jaitley's family members. The Congress Working Committee will meet in New Delhi today amidst a leadership crisis in the party. The CWC may select a new party chief after Rahul Gandhi quit the post in May. Early on Friday, Rahul Gandhi held a meeting with party state unit chiefs and leaders of the state legislature parties along with its general secretaries and in charges, and told them that the name of the new party chief will be announced in the next few days after wider consultations. And now here's an update on the flood-affected states. Incessant rains battered several states including Kerala, Maharashtra and Karnataka yesterday, with landslides and floods throwing normal life out of gear. As Kerala continues to battle torrential downpour lashing its shores, The death toll has risen to 28 in rain-related incidents, including flooding and landslides, with over 1 lakh people moved to relief camps. In 1,002 relief camps across the state, over 1 lakh people have been shifted. NDRF, Army columns, SDRF, Navy and Coast Guard are taking part in rescue and rehabilitation efforts in different parts of the state. Heavy rains continue in Wayanad, hampering rescue efforts. In addition to Wayanad, continuous rains have triggered multiple landslides, and overflowing rivers have caused flooding in several parts of Malappuram, Kannur and Idukki in north and central Kerala. Railroad and air transport took a hit in the state, with several trains being cancelled and the Cochin International Airport shut till the 11th of August due to waterlogging in almost 60% region of its operational area. The government has issued red alert for 9 districts as rains are expected to continue till Monday. In Karnataka, nearly 45,000 people have been evacuated from flood-hit areas. Incessant rains in various parts of the state have left 12 out of 30 districts and 51 talukas affected. Teams of NDRF, Army, Navy and Air Force are involved in relief operations. Belgavi, Hubli, Mysuru, Kodagu, Bagalkot are the worst affected. In a humanitarian gesture, the Southwestern Railways has thrown open its railway stations to flood-hit displaced, besides engaging in rescue and relief operations. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will visit Karnataka to take stock of the flood situation. And over 2 million Muslim pilgrims from across the world converge on Arafat to perform the main ritual of the Hajj, Waquf-e-Arafat, today. The pilgrims will spend time in Arafat with prayers for acceptance of their pilgrimage and recitation of Quranic verses until sunset. After sunset, they will head to Muzdalifah, where they will stay until midnight, engaged in prayers after performing combined Maghrib and Isha prayers. And we now go across to our correspondent. We now go across to Rashid Shamsi, who joins us on the phone line on the importance of today's ritual. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Rashid ji. Tell us about the significance of the ritual on Hajj today.
Rukma, actually today the Arafat day, this is the most important part of the Hajj. All the pilgrims assemble here in Arafat today to seek forgiveness of their sins from the Lord, and they pray there for the world peace, from the Lord, the cherisher and sustainer of the worlds. Actually, this is the most important part. The Hajj is not completed unless and until you attend this Arafat ceremony. Every pilgrim has a duty to reach Arafat at any cost. This is the place where the last prophet of Islam had delivered the last sermon, where he said that no white has any supremacy over black, nor any black over white. And this is only the supremacy is from the piousness, how pious he is and how he is beneficial to the mankind. This is the sole purpose of being here and seeking forgiveness from the cherisher of the world, Allah.
Right, Rashid ji, thank you very much for joining us there and for telling us about the significance of this ritual. As Rashid ji just said, it's one of the most important rituals of the Hajj pilgrimage. Thank you very much for joining us. And with that, we wind up this edition of the news. News and updates continue on DD News and DD India. Coming up next will be news for the hearing impaired. Namaskar.